What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about that state of play February rumor. Sorry, it took a day or two, but here we are. Last couple of days have been a bit busy with other pretty groundbreaking and just big things just in general. This is pretty big, though, and I think, obviously a rumor, but I think you can probably file this under most likely, right? Really for two reasons. One, without even speaking of the rumor and where it came from, this is around the time you normally get it anyway, right? January, February. Plus, even if this wasn't the time you would normally get it, it just makes sense to do it. You have the Switch 2 being announced. Nintendo played their card first, and it's a big one. You have Xbox doing the developer direct on the 23rd. It makes sense for PlayStation to also do something. And honestly, the way it's looking, actually, it's pretty much guaranteed at this point. They're going last, right? Nintendo, Xbox, then PlayStation. So that puts a little pressure on them. We'll talk about that in a second. But that's one reason. Of course, the second reason is this comes from Nate the Hate, who was simply asked, by the way, about a state of play, and he said, how does February sound? So it wasn't like a direct, like, okay, February blank is going to be it. He's not afraid of giving dates, as we just saw, but that's the important part, right? This is the guy who naturally just gets a lot of things right. But even just most recently, this is literally the guy who talked about and said the date of the Switch 2 reveal. Really just a couple other things to talk about. What would they show? And, again, talking kind of about that pressure. Well, look, I'm recording this after, and the video goes up, after a video of mine already has, talking about those live service games being canceled. And I bring that up because, we've talked about this 1,000 times. You go through the back catalog or even just the kind of behind the scenes of PlayStation, and you say, okay, well, what makes sense to actually be, shown off there? And two games that I have consistently, or two studios I've consistently brought up in these conversations has been Bluepoint and has been Bend. I bring them up, I think, every time because, you think to the Naughty Dogs and Santa Monica's and Sucker Punches of the world, but you think, okay, well, these are two studios that have been working on games for 3, 4, 5 years. Like, is it time that we can show off their game? It hurts. It really hurts because it really, of all the games we talk about and all the studios we talk about, it takes two off the board just immediately. The fact that they're starting from scratch, you're not going to know what they're making for years. You're not going to see what they're making for even longer. We will probably hear what they're making before we see it, but we got a long wait, a very long wait. So, with them kind of taking out, what does, a state of play even look like? Well, I think you kind of have to do Ghost. Then you start to go to like Insomniac with like Wolverine. Like, is it a candidate for something like that? Then you have to also think, well, it's a state of play, not a showcase. Then you get back to, are they ever going to do a showcase again? Here's the thing too, when people always bring that up, if they're not ever going to do a showcase again, which I'm not sold on that idea. I think, the idea that maybe they'll do a showcase every 2 years, with this actually being the second year, I can subscribe to that theory. I hope that's actually the case. But if you get rid of showcases, I would imagine it actually would make the state of plays better. But, as we've constantly talked about and as we've seen in the past, state of plays are a chance for third-party stuff too. And, I know we're waiting for PlayStation to do like literally anything, and those games being canceled did not help. In fact, it just hurt overall, right? But, is it a chance for a Hogwarts Legacy type thing? Is it a chance for, pick your game, right? Not like a GTA, but pick some other game. Another Judas maybe showing. It is an exciting time because you can kind of just rattle off, okay, what are some third-party games that make sense, that need a reveal? I know even people are talking about with the Switch 2 announced, you can now start saying games are coming to the Switch 2. You could say, well, how does that, benefit PlayStation? It doesn't really benefit, but, if you see games, maybe Metal Gear Solid was waiting for the Switch 2, and now it can give out its release date and can say, hey, it's actually going to come out to the Switch. Okay, well, could it be at a PlayStation event? Or, maybe it's waiting for a Nintendo thing or whatever, but it maybe opens up some other types of games. So we'll see what ends up happening. I do think there will be a state of play, and then it's just about how big or small that it is. Obviously there's a lot of pressure on them, which I think there deserves to be. This is not like, they've been doing so well historically with these state of plays and showcases, we need to give them the benefit of the doubt. Honestly, they need to prove it. They've had some solid ones in the past, but it's not good enough. Definitely not good enough. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what ends up happening, and we'll go from there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.